Hey everyone, welcome back to Consents. I'm Ben. I thought after yesterday's kind of Debbie Downer review of Zora's Squid, I'd readdress the balance a little bit and have a look at another Beaufort. And I think this is almost the last Beaufort that hasn't ever appeared on my channel. I think there's one more actually. This one, Lignum Vitae. So yeah, I don't really like doing like super negative reviews all the time. You know, it is what it is. But I thought, you know, I'd readdress the whole kind of thing, make myself feel a bit better by smelling a good fragrance and talking about a fragrance that I actually like. So today, again, it's not really weather appropriate, but we're going to look at Lignum Vitae. This is, or Vitae, I think that's an English American, like British American thing. Vitae is how we pronounce it here, but I think it's different in America. Anyway, irrelevant. So yeah, Lignum Vitae. It's from the Hell or High Water collection, which is the stanky Beaufort collection. That's all based around the sea. This one, or you know, travel, sea ship travel, things like that. Mostly seem to be from the 19th century. This one is not actually based on the sea as such. It's based on... Okay, so I'll read you the kind of blurb. It says, we celebrate the innovative spirit which brought to an end the search for lost time and permitted the safe passage of ships across the world. Inspired by the innovative use of materials that allowed 18th century clockmakers to construct the first accurate marine chronometers, Lignum Vitae combines elements of wood, metal and salt to produce a truly unique transportative fragrance. So yeah, it's not actually kind of bang up the sea, this one. This one is supposedly celebrating chronometers and the innovation that followed, that allowed sea travel, right? So it's kind of strange, like the concept behind it. That's fine. The notes in it, where it gets really fruity. So we've got on the top black pepper, pepper tree berry oil, and Madeline cake accord. Yeah, and it. Well, we'll talk about that. In the heart, you got juniper berry, ginger, and lime, and in the base, Lignum Vitae wood accord, buttery accord, and seesaw accord. So let's go. Let's smell this bad boy. When I first, this is bizarre. When I first sprayed this, I cracked myself. Seriously, it's one of the strangest openings I think I've ever come across in perfumery. It really is. So when you first smell it, it's cake. It is genuine cake, and I don't mean like you see a lot of fragrances which have like, you can say smell a little bit cakey or a bit like you know, dough or something like that, or they have gourmand leanings which, you know, a lot of vanilla and stuff which give you these. No, it's not like that. This is cake. It smells genuinely like, you can smell the kind of crumbs and the biscuits and the flour of the cake. It's so bizarre. It really is truly bizarre. It smells like lemon cake, lemon Madeira cake, things like that. It has a really strong and dry, sort of floury angel cake kind of feel to it, with a strong kind of lemon jam, like a lemon curd almost. It's a very jammy lemon. It's not so sharp, but it's quite tart. It's quite a tart lemon jam sort of smell. So you get this kind of lemon Madeira cake vibe. And that's really all you get, or that's all I get at the start, is just a very strong like lemon cake. And it smells like a cake. And I know this might sound ridiculous, I've never smelt anything like it from a perfume ever. It's really singular in its existence. Like I say, I've smelt gourmands, of course. I've smelt gourmands that I would say smell cakey, um, but it's completely different to the way this smells cakey. This is a cake. Like, it just smells like you're smelling a cake. It's something about the texture of it that puts that across. It's slightly dry, and it smells. I wouldn't say dusty, but it's got that kind of crummy, floury, dry vibe to it. That makes it smell more like a realistic cake than just a kind of dough or cake smell. That it doesn't last forever. Does start to fade quite quickly, which is one of the saddest things about this fragrance. And if I was to criticize it in any way, that would be my biggest criticism, is that the opening, which is really great and I really enjoy, goes too quick. It lasts about 5 minutes, and then it starts to devolve and turn into something not different. It's quite a linear fragrance, but it loses the cakiness, which I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing, because I'm not sure if I really want to walk around smelling like a cake all day. So maybe it's a good thing that the opening is brief. You know, you get 5 minutes of this kind of real cake vibe, and then it basically, what happens is you'll start to lose that, and the lemon, the jammy lemon curd sticks around, but the actual kind of dry, biscuity, floury, cakey vibe just sort of sits back until it disappears completely. And that's about now. And instead, what happens instead is, as that cake goes, you get some salt comes through, a little bit of smoke comes through. Of course, being a Beaufort from the Hell or High Water, you would expect a little bit of smoke in there somewhere. But it's absolutely like not ferocious smoke like a lot of the other Hell or High Water collection. It's really subtle, really subtle to my nose. You just say you get that, you get that, and you get probably the most kind of overwhelming scent that comes through in the heart of this fragrance for me is a quite savage metallic note, and it's quite you get metallic notes in perfume, but to me this is quite photorealistic. It smells quite irony, so you get this quite iron metallic smell comes through, and that really dominates. So what you end up with for the honest, like the heart of this fragrance, the most of it really is a kind of lemon curd, a kind of metallic iron vibe, and a salty lime, because interestingly the lemon curd starts to fall back and it becomes almost like a lime, and you get this kind of like lemon lime mix, and I would say it starts leaning a little bit more limey than lemony, but it still retains some of that lemon curd the whole time. So you get a kind of lemon curd and lime mix. And I suppose that could be perhaps the juniper berry, maybe mixing with the lemon. It could perhaps be that. And it could be like a trick. And then, so that's what really happens for the life of the fragrance. The metallic is quite hot. To me, it smells like a hot metallic scent. And then, interestingly, and I love about it, is that the cake smell starts to come back after about half an hour. The cake element, like the dry kind of crummy biscuit smell, starts to come back, but it's much subtler on its reprisal. When it makes its return, it's much more in the background, and it doesn't smell. It doesn't kind of overwhelm at all. It's just there, and that to me is then the life of the fragrance. It does have one more trick up its sleeve, but that to me is the life of the fragrance. Really, is that hot metallic, slightly salted lemon and lime, sort of more lemony curd kind of thing, with a very soft tonka that comes out underneath everything. But it is a very, very soft tonka. It's not a big vanilla fragrance. It's not a big, I wouldn't say it gets, I would say it starts obviously super gourmand, but I wouldn't say it gets, it turns into something else. It's not really gourmand. You also start getting, and I would assume it's the Lignum Vitae. Lignum Vitae is just a hardwood, I think, but you do get a very soft woodiness to it, which is helped by the tonka, which is that kind of woody vanilla. But it's not strong. It's not a strong woody scent. It's, to me, it just plays as an undercurrent underneath the main notes, which are the salt, the lemon kind of curd, and the hot metallic smell. And it's really great. It really is great. I really like it, really enjoy it. So it has one more trick up its sleeve, and it's something that is completely comparable to Batacada from L'Artisan Parfumé. And what it is they I've reviewed Batacada from L'Artisan Parfumé. I've got it. I really like it. It's one of my favorite summer fragrances. It's really great. It has this really intimate musk note that smells to me like skin, like sweaty, salted skin. And that's, but it's not sweaty. If you've not seen that review, I would recommend watching it after this one if you're interested in this fragrance, because I talk about it a bit more. But it's not sweat in a bad way. It's not sweaty kind of sweat, or stale sweat. It's sort of a very it just smells like a very intimate, close skin smell, like a very musky, just human smell, really. And that develops underneath all of this. It's very different to Batacada in that it doesn't have any of the fragapane. It doesn't have any of the floral notes from Batacada. It does have a little bit of that lime and obviously the citrus. But to me, it's a very different scent profile. The only thing I would say is that, you know, the only reason I'm making the comparison is because that skin scent, that skin note, that kind of very intimate musk, I've only ever really smelt it in L'Artisan Parfumé before, and they're very close. But it's just one element of this fragrance. They're very different fragrances as a whole. I said I really enjoy it. I do think it's slightly less sexy than Batacada. I think it's slightly dirtier than Batacada. I feel like, in a funny sort of way, if Batacada is like the party, you know, the night, it's very like I feel like it's the night, you know, the hedonistic party night, with the kind of erotic kind of skin musk as well. This is almost like, you know, the next day, the hangover. It's got like the kind of the grime. I wouldn't say it's a super dirty fragrance, but the wood and the metallic note do offer it just a touch of kind of grit and grime. It's not overtly gourmand, but it maintains an element of that with the tonka and the lemon throughout, and that slight kind of biscuity cake reprisal. But it doesn't, when you first spray it, it's super gourmand, but by the mid and the late dry down, I would say not really gourmand, very subtly gourmand maybe. But a really great fragrance, really unique fragrance, and utterly wearable for a Beaufort. It's worth pointing out that for the Hell or High Water collection, this is to me the most wearable out of the Hell or High Water collection. Some of their newer offerings, hey cat, some of their newer offerings are not quite so offensive, you might say, as the Hell or High Water collection. They're much more wearable, but this one to me is utterly wearable. There's nothing gross, there's nothing heavy or oppressive. The smoke in it is very subtle, doesn't stick around too long. It's just a super wearable fragrance, and it's a really nice fragrance. It's, if you like the idea behind a lot of Beauforts, but you find them all a little bit challenging, I would say give this one a pop, because it truly is the least offensive of all the Beauforts. It is utterly wearable, really enjoyable, and really unique. Yeah, I say the opening, I've not smelt much like it. It's quite simple, so I've kind of explained it, and I don't feel like I've had to go into too much kind of crazy detail. It is quite a simple linear fragrance, but I really like it. It's super enjoyable. So, you know, who's it for? I think it's unisex, but it is, if it's going to lean one way or the other, I would say it probably leans feminine, but I do think it's unisex. I wear it without any issues, and I don't feel like it's even particularly feminine. But I would say if it leans one way or the other, I would say it leans feminine, and that's probably the Tonka and the gourmand vibe to it that makes me feel like that. But realistically, it's like a jammy citrus with a touch of Tonka. Yeah, maybe you can say that sort of leans a touch feminine, but I think it's bang unisex, really. It has that the wood and the hot metallic vibe to kind of dirty it up and make it more interesting, and probably swing it back towards the center. So really, I think it's pretty central. When do I think it's for? That's interesting. I think you can get away with this any time of year. I think it's a 4-season scent. I think in the summer, I think it would smell really, really good. I think I would really enjoy it in the summer. In the spring and fall, you've got the woods to kind of, you know, the wood is very subtle in it, but you know, you've got that subtle wood and smoke in there for a brief period. I think it would work in the in the spring with the lemon, obviously, and in the fall with the wood, and in the winter it works because it's got that warmth, it's got that kind of gourmand cakey feel. So I really think it works in any season. I think you can really play it in any season. In terms of dressing it up or down, that's a really interesting one. I think if you dress it down, it totally works. It's totally casual. In fact, I think if you dress it down, it works in the way that it's totally casual, but I think it would be a super classy casual scent and a super chic casual scent. If you dress it up, I think it's also incredibly chic and quite edgy. So I would say dress it up or down is fine. Either way, I think it plays really, really well. And I think it's a very stylish fragrance. It really is. It's a very cool fragrance. It's very it's got enough edge to make it chic as fuck, but it's very wearable and utterly kind of pleasant. So I really do think it works up or down, and I really think it plays super well. In terms of the projection and longevity, the longevity is fine. Really good, lasts all day, easy. It's a total monster. But in terms of projection, it's quite close. When you first spray it, that cakey smell is going to be quite big, but it dials in quite quick. You get about, I would say, a kind of foot of projection for most of its life, which is fine for most people, I think. It's not one of those fragrances. It's not going to fill a room. You're not going to walk in and stink the room out. You can get away with a couple of sprays of this and, you know, be quite subtle still. So, you know, I think it's good. I think for the type of fragrance it is, I think that's perfect. Being that it's like quite jammy citrus with that kind of gourmandy kind of tonka. And obviously with that kind of hot metallic note as well, being quite dirty, I actually think it works very well as being quite a close scent anyway. And later, when you get that intimate musk coming, it definitely works well as a more intimate scent. So I think it's just a cracker. I think it's a great scent. Yeah, so that's Lignum Vitae. I think that's who it's for. I think I really think it's an interesting scent. I think, say, if you're interested in Beaufort, but you've been a bit scared by them, don't be scared with this one. It's utterly wearable. It's thoroughly enjoyable. It's one of, like, I keep smiling when I smell it. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those fragrances that just makes you smile when you smell it and makes you happy. It just smells so individual and unique and full of character. And on top of all of that, it's just incredibly chic as well. So you can really pull it off. Like, you know, if you want something with a bit of style, a little bit of edge, you want to smell like, you know, it's perfect for that. It really is. It's perfect for if you want that kind of simple gourmand, tonkery, lemon, cakey feel, which is, you know, totally inoffensive and in many ways very like, it's kind of run of the mill, but you don't want it to be run of the mill. You want it to be a little bit edgy and a little bit kind of, this is the one. This is the fragrance that you want to look for. Give it a go. Give it a sample. I think it could be divisive. I think some people will find the salt and the mixture of the kind of salt and sweet and the hot kind of metal vibe, that kind of hot irony vibe. I think some people might not like that mixture, and I think some people might be turned off by that biscuity cake vibe. But for me, they're subtle enough that I think the large majority will find this enjoyable. I do think that some people will be turned off by it, but I think it's subtle enough that it will be few. I say it's not a challenging scent. You know, I clarify it's one of the easiest Beauforts to wear, but it's just an easy fragrance in general to wear. So I do think it's okay. Yeah, that's Beaufort Lignum Vitae. I'm going to stop talking about it now. If you can get a sample of it, I definitely recommend it to just about anyone. If you're into fragrances, anyone should give it a go. If not, to buy a bottle and wear, just to have a go on that cake introduction, because it's really unique and really something to smell. It's something that I haven't smelled before, something that I probably, you know, I would love to smell again, but I've you know, I've not once come across a fragrance like it. So yeah, definitely worth at least sampling just to get that vibe. You know, cheers. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. A bit more positive than the zoologist squid review. Cheers.